What's up, math scholars and math haters? This is Mr. W. Today we're going to tackle question 32 in the 7th grade math questions that North Carolina released this past school year. The question tells us that Paul has a spinner with 4 colors, green, yellow, blue, and orange. He spins the spinner 60 times and records that it stopped each number of times on each color. And if Paul is going to spin the spinner an additional 450 times, we're trying to figure out how many times he should expect the spinner to stop on blue. Now, this question is going to test us on experimental probability, so working with probability based on what you find, not necessarily based on what's theoretical, what you could draw out of fractions. And then also, we'll use number tables and proportions to solve this. All right, so first let's talk about experimental probability. Blue is the color we're most interested in, so in terms of the experimental probability, that's the number of ways that we got what we wanted, divided by the number of total tries we made. So in this case, this would be 14 out of 60. So we're expecting that 14 out of 60 times we're going to get blue, just like we would expect if we were using the ideas of experimental probability, that 12 out of 60 times we'd get green, 19 out of 60 times we'd get yellow, and 15 out of 60 times we would get orange, but we're most interested in blue. And for this, I'm actually going to go ahead and pull out a proportion to solve this. It takes out one of the steps that we don't really need, because if we're thinking, okay, I got blue 14 times out of 60, that means that I'm going to get blue again. How many times out of 450? And it's at this point that I would start looking for some right to left or top to bottom multiplication or division pattern, but unfortunately I don't see any. So I'm going to have to pull out cross multiplication for this. And I'm going to have to say that, okay, 14 times 450 equals 60 times some number that I don't know yet. I use my calculator to figure out that 450 times 14 is actually 6,300, which I know is 60 times something. At this point, whether I use equations or fact families, I should figure out that divide by 60, 6,300 divided by 60 is going to get us this blank that we don't know yet. And 6,300 divided by 60 actually gets us 105. So if we got 14 blue spins out of 60, we would expect, using experimental probability, to get about 105 spins to land on blue out of 450. So our answer is 105.